Hi, this is R+B Kitchen. Now, R&B does not stand for rhythm and blues. It stands for Renee and Bruce. Today, we are going to be showing you how to make egg bread in a Zoharushi bread machine.
Great. What should we do first, Renee?
Well, I actually don't know. What are we supposed to do first?
So I can instruct you, just like the video, and at the same time, the video will be instructing anyone who watches this video, right?
Yeah.
Clever. Wow. Okay. Well, what do we always do with our flour?
Weigh our flour.
Okay. So we've got a bowl, we've got a scale, and we are going to put the bowl on the scale and tare it, T-A-R-E, so that it will read 0. Now, the recipe calls for 4 cups of flour, which is 480 grams. So, Renee, go to it. Put flour in there until we get 480 grams.
139.
It's about 4 cups. So, you know where we're headed here.
298. Ah. 408.
72 more.
466.
Wow, I even read it right.
Unlike you did in our last video.
490.
491.
485.
480.
Wow, just like she knew what she was doing. It actually
says 481, but 481 is close enough.
Yeah.
And so is 479. So
plus or minus 1 gram, which weighs almost nothing. So what I like to do is get all of the dry ingredients out of the way so that your measuring spoons are, well, dry. So the next thing we can put right on top of this flour,
stop looking down,
are 3 tablespoons of sugar. So Renee, go for it. Wow. So there's been some talk that in bread making circles that you should absolutely weigh everything. And my opinion on that is that the amounts of sugar, dry milk, or gluten are so small that whether you weigh them or measure them does not make a big difference. And I've never found that I've needed to weigh anything but the flour and just measure the water carefully. So now we have got the sugar with the flour, and the last dry ingredient will be the yeast. And we want...
Isn't salt a dry ingredient?
Oh, it is. Wow. She caught me. But that will go in away from the yeast, right, into the liquid. So we have a teaspoon here, and you need 2 teaspoons of
active dry yeast.
Active dry yeast. Now this is the slower acting yeast, not bread machine or quick acting yeast. And we're going to get a nice double rise out of that.
And now if you watched our last video, that'll be down in the description as well. We learned never, ever, no, never, no, never, no, never mix yeast and salt together, because salt automatically kills yeast.
It does. So now what we're going to do is in the pan put the wet ingredients. We'll set the flour mixture aside, and in the pan we'll go 1/3 of a cup of water, which you can get right from the tap. We don't need to heat it up. It's on the right side of it. You see it?
I see it.
Hold it level. Put it on the counter. Make sure it's 1/3 of a cup.
It is 1/3 of a cup.
Wow. She's like a genius measurer. And then we need 3/4 of a cup of milk. This is easier because you're not trying to hold it flat. And there you go. In you go. Now, did I get eggs out, Renee? No.
No.
Oh boy.
Like, it's very hard to make egg bread without eggs, just for the record.
Wow. And there's my smarty pants
Egg.
granddaughter. So what the recipe calls for is to mix the eggs before you put them in with the milk and water. So in they go. And I'll get a fork.
You don't have a composter, do you? You just
No. So there's 2 eggs. We give them a little spin with the fork just to break up those yolks and give it a good start in the mixture.
And you can do this in the same thing you put your milk and water in. They're all going to the same place.
That's right. Why make more dishes if you don't have to? Yeast goes back in the refrigerator.
So it doesn't die.
There we go. Now we need 2. Let's put that in the sink because it's icky with eggs. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. And we'll do that before we do the olive oil because we don't want the olive oil dripping all over the place. So a teaspoon of salt. This is kosher salt, so it's a little more coarse than your table salt.
But you can really use any kind of salt.
You can actually use table salt if you want to. There you go. So that's in there. And now we need 2 tablespoons of
olive oil.
EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. And there we go. Okay, we have 2 tablespoons in there.
Yes.
Okay, that goes in the sink. And friends, folks, and ladies and gentlemen, now, I'm turning my back on the camera. Now, we take the dry and mix, just pour it on top of the wet. Try not to tip everything over. And I'm going to move the bread machine so that we can plug it in. We always use King Arthur flour, by the way. So in goes.
Turn to the camera.
In it goes. Snap it in there, Renee. At an angle first.
We can cut some of this out.
What's going on?
I don't know.
There we go.
We'll cut half of that out.
Yeah. So now you just put it on. This is going to be the basic. So it'll be 3.5 hours, and you don't have to change the crust setting. This is medium, and it will be just fine. So hit this start button right there.
Beep.
And away we go. Hit it. We'll see you in 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I was doing it, so if we need to do it again, we would.
I'll make a beep noise. Beep.
So, see you in 3.5 hours. That'll look really cool once we edit that.